everyone, and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. My name is Diena Lee Mann, founder and CEO of Spectio. Today, I had the pleasure of speaking with Helena Cho, Director of B2B Marketing at Expedia Group. She has a very deep background in both marketing and as a data leader. Helena, could you tell us a bit about your career as a data and analytics leader?
Sure. Hi, Helena Cho, live from Austin. And I would love to share about my journey in the travel industry. I just find it incredibly rewarding because who doesn't like travel? But the more I get into it, I just love the business of travel. It's been constant learning, collaboration, and just being surrounded by really some brightest minds in the industry. So pulling back, 7 years ago, my career began at Verbo. That's our vacation rental brand that helps families and groups find perfect whole home accommodation. I started the brand's marketing analytics team, so we covered both sides of marketplace, and this role really provided me with a comprehensive understanding of consumer behaviors, and here I mean consumer traveler, but also with the business to business interactions. And it really set a strong foundation for my future roles. So I progressed into the more other Expedia brand role, and I had the opportunity to work across all travel brands at Expedia Group. Some of those you are very familiar with, such as Expedia.com, Hotels.com, and later shifted towards the B2B side of the business. And this shift really broadened my perspective, and I get to analyze and provide recommendations across various supply partners. So most of y'all think about lodging, hotel, but also air travel, car rentals, as well as our B2B side operations like um, media solution and white label template and API businesses. And in terms of analytics career, my teams and I have developed tools and systems that move from what we call simple descriptive analytics that only reports out historical performance all the way to the journey of advanced prescriptive analytics, where we do have data loop and the data insights and constantly make informed not only business leaders but also partners and travelers experience on our platform. So some of the examples would be we built a self-serve data product and crafting a marketing technology or MarTech infrastructure, and engaging in various customer analytics that's well known, such as cohort analysis, lifetime value projections, and also working on the capital allocation of different paid media channels and tactics. And so those involved close collaboration with our machine learning team to build media mix model or incremental test for many different channels, to name a few.
Wonderful. And so, with all of the technologies and talent that are out there in the field of data and analytics, why is it that businesses still struggle to make data-driven decisions with confidence?
I think the main challenge of making confident data-driven decisions in business often comes down to a few things. So the first being the expectation of speed versus the reality of analytics processes. Decision makers frequently need insights and most times quickly to respond to constant market changes or internal demands. And so they turn to their data and analytics team, right? And but then what they find is seemingly simple questions. They would think like, oh, isn't this like you just turn around and click this button? Or some people say, select star from this pristine table and you would get it. But actually, no, it requires significant time to address. And sometimes like several days and weeks. And this delay typically stems from the need to prioritize among multiple ongoing requests. I think any analytics leader would agree with that. A lot of times you're lucky if you get to the trade-off. It pretty much means just additional hours for the analytics team as they try to juggle everything on top of their existing projects. And I think this like misalignment between the speed of business needs and the pace at which data can be processed, it just leads to the frustration for both sides. And another substantial hurdle, in my opinion, is just the lack of robust, user-friendly self-service data platforms that not only allow leaders, but also business like mid-managers or people on the field who are executing the business end users to access and manipulate data independently. And while many organizations have started to take this route and they think about developing these tools, a lot of times these data products don't really offer the flexibility to pull the necessary dimensions and metrics that's specific to the hypothesis or the business question they're asking. And there's another common misconception that once data product is built, everyone claps and like, yay, we're gonna make everything data driven. Then they pull the resources out if they feel like we built the data product, it's gonna run on its own, and we don't no longer need to require attention, resources, and whatnot. But in reality, like any product facing, customer facing products, these data tools need continual iteration, improvements, and maintenance to address bugs and adapt to new requirements. And these ongoing developments, that's really crucial to ensure that these tools remain effective and can truly support data-driven decision making.
So building on that, data as a product is a principle that organizations often struggle to put to practice. How have you developed the people and processes necessary to successfully deliver data products?
Great question. I like to start with what good looks like. I think in many situations, I think this alignment starts with either not knowing what good looks like. And let's start with the processes or what I call elements of good data product is, or shall we call crucial components that will address all the frustration that we mentioned in previous question. And here's another thing. You don't have to solve for all of this in the first phase, but as long as you share that this is the roadmap that we are going towards, and you get buy-in from your end users and all the teams that's involved, I find that it's been more successful, and then everyone's more understanding, and now we go through the same goal. The first thing, and this is actually towards the very end, is the data loop, the loops, spiral loop, network loop, data loops. But I find it very surprising that often we are so fixated on building the tool itself, and we leave the listening back of the insights, and we leave that to still to human, meaning mostly analytics teams in this case. So when you actually build a data loop, any part that needs to be implemented to the product or user experience without human decision, in my opinion, should be automated. I know people put it into terms of arts and science. I am a huge believer that there is definitely an arts part of the business decisions where analytics can be part of. Not every decision can be just spit out of machine learning and then we sit back and do nothing. That's definitely not the true case. But the true iteration of great customer experience, in my opinion, those are sciences. If you wait until you get the insights, and then now you have to prioritize with your product and tech team to build it, that slows down the whole process and goes back to our root cause of the issue of timeliness, leads to the frustration of our business and users. So thinking about, you don't have to build it on the day one of launching, but thinking about data loop that any parts of the science where human decisions should not be impacted need to be taken into account and should be automated for constant listening and changing. Another piece is able to manipulate data to test end user hypothesis. Same thing that I mentioned earlier. A lot of times the data product comes in the fixed format, dashboard, y'all, dashboard. And you try to put in a bunch of filters, a bunch of like requirements, you change data, you change different dates, you change different dimensions. But at the end of the day, I just often find that if you go into the fixed table, that usually never satisfies what end user is trying to do. then that goes into the next iteration of development. Sure, we still need those feedback to build the right product, but oftentimes fixed format requires constant update requests. And how do you really, at the end, support endless permutation of metrics and dimensions? So there is only so much fixed format can do. And so when we're designing those UX, most time the data products that got implemented and constantly being used by users were always something we gave some freedom to end users to build those themselves. And the last that I like to call out is the alert system, really that notifies user, I mean both business and the users, and analytics team and engineering team at the back end when anything abnormal is observed. It seems very simple and straightforward, but a lot of times this is what something we often miss. You like someone made a mistake on the channel. Let's say you just ended up clicking extra zero, and then you can really drain down multiple like $100,000s over the weekend without like result to show for. Those are the times I feel like when systems and different alerts need to happen, because unless someone looks at those data every day, and yes, I believe everyone should look at their data that they are responsible for every day, but reality, it's not always the case. And oftentimes those mistakes can get pushed or some outage happens. There could be bottlenecks that people don't observe until someone actually look at some traffic data. I'm like, oh, that's weird, something spiked. These are the things that all can be managed when we have the right alert system in place. So I think everyone has a good foundation of what needs to go in, but on top of the customer requirement, I believe those three things need to go in.
Thank you so much, Helena. Really appreciate your making time for this interview today. We definitely need more leaders like you who, stay close to the business and are experts at building effective data and analytics organizations. So thank you. So thanks everybody for listening. Please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews.